Hello there and welcome to all our viewers and welcome to this special interview with me, Joel Outsgood. Well, today we have with us a prominent personality for you to learn a lot from. This person is indeed of no doubt. And let me take this time to introduce to you this personality, and she is President of the International Federation of Accountants, Miss Olivia Kirtley. How are you doing today?
Wonderful, thank you.
Very well said. I'll start off like this. Well, I believe that this is your first time here in Sri Lanka. How has it been so far?
Well, you would be wrong that it's my first time in Sri Lanka, but it's been delightful to be back. I was here 10 years ago.
Wow, okay.
Doing post-tsunami work.
Very nice. So how has it been since 10 years back from now to today? How do you feel it? How do you see it?
Amazing.
Really?
The infrastructure that's been put in place, just the growth of the economy, everything has progressed so much. It's so rewarding to come back and see that.
Thank you very much. Well, Miss Olivia, I would like to ask this question from you. Well, when I was reading through some of your details, this line just struck me. A very simple girl who was born to a very simple farming community. 40 years from now, I suppose. Well, if you'd like to get back to the roots and your childhood, and if you'd like to tell something about it today.
Well, I grew up in a small town. My dad was a farmer, but I lived in the city. The city meaning it had all of 5,000 people. But, you know, it was just a community where everyone worked hard, everyone was good to each other, everyone tried to excel at whatever they did. We all had really strong work ethics, but we were taught that we could do anything we wanted to do. And I think that really made a difference for me, because I was always told that the sky was the limit, that whatever I put my mind to and focused on, that was possible. So I think that was a very freeing thing for me to know that there was nothing that I could aspire to, that if I worked hard enough, that I wouldn't have the support of my family, my community. And so it was a very, very healthy, wonderful, simple environment to grow up in.
It was a simple environment, as you said. But today you're standing in a very different position from where you were. What was your upbringing like? Which streams do you major? Or if you would like to touch on that, your schooling life.
Well, the only requirement that my parents had is that I needed to go further away from my home to go to school, so I wouldn't be coming home all the time, and I would adjust to people from different parts of the country and would have experiences that were different than what I'd grown up with. So I majored in accounting. I went to a school in Florida. And I went there because I could play golf year-round. That was not a really good reason to go there, but they happened to have a wonderful education program too. And I majored in accounting, and when I came out, I started working for one of the international accounting firms.
Since you touched on this thing, the whole aspect of golfing, well, I believe that you're a person who has actually balanced your sporting life and of course, your education. Well, because a lot of our viewers who are watching you right now would love to know, how do you do it? Is it an easy task?
It's never easy. It's a challenge for all of us. I sort of have the 80-20 rule. I try to have balance about 80% of the time, but I know 20% of the time that it's probably not possible because there are peak demands in what you do. But I try to give priority to the things that are really important for me to do, and I try to get others to help me in things that I think are less important for me to personally be involved in. I've done that throughout my career, whether it's with my children, with other tasks that I might have. I want to spend my time where it's really meaningful. And that takes discipline to do that. You have to figure out a way. It's hard to figure out how to structure all of that, but it can be done.
Well, you said you came all this way with the support of a lot of people. Well, if there is one person who helped you throughout your life, who would that person be?
My husband.
Your husband?
Hands down.
Hands on. Your husband.
Yes.
Well, since you touched on this aspect of your husband, well, make me if I'm wrong, Well, you just got into employment to support your husband. And 2 days before your marriage, you were recruited. What is this whole story? A very inspiring story. Well, 2 days before your marriage, getting a job, I think would be astounding. And hunting for a job. What's the story behind this?
Well, my husband wanted to go to medical school, but he had no means to pay for it himself. So we were getting married, and I knew that I was the sole support if he was going to be able to go. But in the United States at the time, it was a time when they did not hire women into the profession. Oh. And so finding a job as with one of the large firms, I knew would be difficult. But I told you before, I'd always been told that if I was determined, and that was my aspiration, that you could find a way to do it. And I had interviewed with several other firms, and 2 days before my wedding, I was told that EY wanted to interview me. And could I come to Louisville, which was 90 miles away. And of course, my wedding guests were already coming in. Okay. And I said, of course I can. You always find a way to do it.
Yeah.
And I went, and it just happened that the man that was in charge of that office had 3 daughters. And they were all entering the professional world, and he hired me on the spot. He didn't ask his partners. A few of them were mad. And so I had to prove myself. And I wanted to make sure that I honored the trust he put in me, and I worked very hard. And I think that at the end of the day, his partners finally admitted that maybe it was an okay decision.
Wow, a very nice story. Well, I would like to dig deep into this story and ask you, what kind of conversation was there between the two of you? What kind of questions did he ask you to recruit you on the spot?
Well, I guess, he treated me like he would treat anyone else, and he wanted to know what, my goals and aspirations were. He wanted to know about my background, my training, and, just my dedication to the profession. And it was very interesting in the U.S., the CPA exam, very few people pass it the first time. So I was hired in with a class of 12 people. And as I told you, I was the only woman in the office, so obviously the only woman in my class of 12 people. And I had the good fortune of being the only person who also passed the exam on the first sitting. So that gave me credibility that I really needed to be trusted by other people, to embrace me and to bring me on to their audit teams and to take me into the client's office.
Being the only woman, I'm sure it wasn't an easy task. You said almost 12 people in the team?
That was the number of people they hired that particular year, but it was an office of over 100 people.
I'm sure you must have come across so much of obstacles, as in being the only woman, and wasn't the others around you being like pushing you around and telling you, how could you even be here? Did you face such situations?
I always looked at that as, yes, of course, you always face some of that. But I always look at that as they're bringing their background and their experiences with them. And so I know who I am, I'm confident in myself, and that is a bias that they bring. And so it's my job to help them overcome that bias through my actions and through my professionalism and through how I perform. And I will tell you, to a person, I think that they all eventually not only accepted me, but embraced the fact that I was a very valuable part of their team.
With time, everything was settled down, I suppose.
Well, but there's no substitute for competence. So I had to make sure I was competent. And I had to make sure that I could do an excellent job. And I probably worked harder, and I probably, I needed to pass my exam on first sitting.
Yes.
I needed to excel. But you lead by example, and I really wanted to make sure that the path was cleared for other women coming behind me. I wanted them to have an easier time than I had, and to be more accepted at the front end than maybe I was.
So gender was actually not a big problem because you overcame every obstacle in your life
Well,
segment?
every obstacle might be a strong statement, but...
most of your obstacles, let me put it that way, yeah? Well, you also spoke about you work towards your goals. If you may say, what are your goals?
Oh, my goals are always to help those around...
The top 3.
My top 3. Top 1.
Top 1, okay.
It would be to help others around me be successful.
Perfect.
As an accountant, one of my goals was to provide the information that people needed, not the information that I happen to be producing. And so in order to do that, you have to go and talk to people, ask them what their issues are, what information, if they had it, would enable them to be more successful, to do their job better, and then find a way to provide that. And then I'd say my third goal was always not to feel like I was restricted to my area of expertise, that I could use that area of expertise as a platform to work across a business or work across a firm, because that gives you a very unique insight into how to solve other problems throughout the organization, or how to take advantage of opportunities that might present themselves.
Well, since we're in this conversation of your life back then in your business and being the only woman back then, well, is there one situation that you recall as to how you faced it and how difficult was it? If there's one incident you would like to tell our viewers.
I think the one incident I remember early in my career, and I was very conscious of the fact that I was very fortunate to have a job. But I ran into a situation where I felt like that the manager on the job was overlooking things that should not be overlooked, that there were things wrong that were going on. And I had to make a decision very early on what to do about that. I only have one reputation to give, and I wanted to protect that at all costs. So I went into the managing partner and I said, I've brought this objection up to the manager several times. He continues to overlook these ethical violations in the client, and I can't do this. It's, you know, I'm violating my own professional code to do this. And, you know, it's either, you know, I will need to quit, yes, or we need to correct this. It was a tough decision because, as I said to you before, I was a sole source of income for my husband to be able to go through medical school, so I could have lost my job. But it's a choice I made early on that, you know, there's some things you can't compromise on, and regardless of what the risks are, you have to stay true to your values.
So you were able to fulfill your husband's dream in getting him through medical school and all?
Yes.
Yeah?
He's a very successful doctor and does a wonderful job, and is my biggest supporter.
Very well said. Well, we'll have more details of this beautiful lady, who is also the president of the International Federation of Accounts, Miss Olivia Kirtley, after this short commercial break. Welcome back to the program. Well, you're with me, Joel Outscoon, and we're in conversation with the president of the International Federation of Accountants, Miss Olivia Kirtley. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, just before we went to the break, we were talking about your early days back then. Well, now I would like to touch about your present context. The present president of IFAC. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's been an incredible experience. You know, IFAC, the International Federation of Accountants, is unique because it's the only global organization for all the professional accountancy organizations around the world. So, for instance, here in Sri Lanka, there are 3 member bodies that are members of IFAC. So our members are only the member bodies, such as CA Sri Lanka, CMA Sri Lanka, AET, and so that's who we serve. And we serve as that global voice. So you can imagine how many different challenges and issues there are around the world. And we hope to bring that global perspective to it. And we hope to contribute to the profession wherever we can in helping them achieve their goals, and wherever we think we can be effective in helping them with that, to walk along beside them. We require our member bodies to uphold very high standards. We call them statements of membership obligations. It's a very high hurdle, and Sri Lanka should be extremely proud of the profession here and the fact that you actually have 3 national bodies who are members of IFAC.
Well, Ms. Kirtley, this is also an astounding fact. Well, you said you were the first woman to be recruited, and you're also the first woman to be the president of the International Federation of Accountants. Well, what an achievement. Were you planning on this, or how did it work?
You know, I'd like to say that I planned on this, but actually, sort of my whole career is I've tried to be involved. I've tried to walk through the next door of opportunity. Whatever I do, I want to do to the fullest and give my best to it and try to be part of the solution to whatever the issues are today. And I was just very fortunate that after serving on the IFAC board for several years, that I was supported to be president of the International Federation of Accountants. I consider it a great honor and a great responsibility to be the first woman. It gives me the opportunity to be able to demonstrate that women can be successful in leadership positions, and to allow everyone to see that all parts of the talent pool, both men and women, have tremendous amounts to contribute. And if we want to be the best that we can be as a profession, as a company, as a professional organization, whatever it is, that tapping into the entire talent pool is a critical thing to do.
Well, many women out there are striving to be maybe someone like you, or maybe they have role models of their life. Maybe I want to be this person someday. And even if you take the business world out there, female domination is increasing. Well, is there a message that you would like to give out to all the women out there who are striving to be a great personality one day, who will be holding a big position in the industry? What would that simple message be?
Be confident. There's no substitute for confidence, and be confident. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to take risk. You know, there's some research out there that has found that men are more likely to take a position before they feel that they're ready for it than many women will. And so I think that women have to be ready, be willing to take more risk, and not to feel like that they have to be 100% prepared, because none of us are ever 100% prepared. And it's by taking risks that you learn and you adjust to change, and you build your confidence to get ready for the next opportunity. But being competent is the first order, and that's entirely within your control. And then get out there and do things in order to gain that confidence, and be confident.
Confidence is the key factor towards success, to strive in this male-dominant environment?
I think confidence is a key for anyone.
Yeah.
But I think that women have not had maybe been thrown into the limelight quite as much as their male counterparts sometimes. And so I think confidence is something that they have to work more to make sure that they can attain. And you attain that confidence by gaining experience. You gain experience by taking risk and actually agreeing to take that promotion, to go to that next job, to do something different.
To do something different. You stop from there. Well, as the first woman to be elected president of IFAC, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do in a different way?
One of the things that I try to do always is to engage with and talk to a lot of people and understand what their issues are. And there are many different ones, but I think one of the key leadership skills is listening. Because when you're talking, you're learning nothing. When you listen, you learn a lot. And wherever I go, whatever I do, I always learn, but I try to listen. So one of the things I'm trying to do is I have actually a brutal travel schedule, but I brought that upon myself because I feel that it's really important to be out there and engage with a lot of people. There are things we're trying to do and trying to build up the profession in countries where the profession is not as strong as it is in Sri Lanka. And one of the key issues out there is that accountants have tremendous skills and tremendous knowledge to be able to overcome a lot of issues that countries are facing, such as poverty, fraud, lack of accountability, being able to be good stewards with the tax dollars that the government has. And so one of the key initiatives is to try to identify where we can really be effective in helping build that capability within a country. And then I would say the third area is the whole area of government accountability and trying to advocate for there to be qualified accountants within the governments to address a lot of the issues that they have in making good decisions and knowing exactly what their expenditures and what their financial issues are. So we have to embed those good accountants within governments too.
Well said, and all the best for all these dreams of yours to come true. And maybe you could, of course, make a difference within the board. Well, I would like to now more deviate our conversation. Well, a lot of youngsters may be watching you right now. People who are having so much of mixed feelings. What would my occupation be? What would I major in? Well, I myself, I had that at one point. What am I going to do next after I finish school? What would my next step be? Well, for those confused minds, what would that message be?
Well, of course, I would say that accounting is a wonderful major. But the reason I say that is because it's an incredible platform for understanding any organization. I don't care if you're a doctor with your own single practice, or if you aspire to be in management, or if you aspire to work for a not-for-profit organization. The one thread that runs through every single organization around the world is the financial thread. And the financial thread is controlled by the accounting and the decisions that are made in providing information. And it's information that's the key to making good decisions for any organization. So I think that accounting is an incredible platform and springboard to go to any profession. And I know a lot of young people, they get asked, what are you going to do?
Yes.
And they want to say something, but they really don't know. And I have found throughout my career that even though accounting's been my major, I've had so many opportunities to do so many different things, whether it be acquisitions around the world or whether it be to help improve the operations of a plant somewhere, to serve on boards. I serve on public company boards and publicly listed company boards. It's my accounting that's been the foundation for all of that. But it is a foundation that frees you to do a lot of different things.
Well, Mrs. Kirtley, I would like to ask this as our final question as we are about to wrap up the interview today. Well, a message out to the Sri Lankans. Well, this is my message as the current president of the International Federation of Accountants. Well, this inspiration got me here. This might help you if you take a close listen to what I say right now. What would that message be?
Well, I think Sri Lankans, number one, should be extremely proud of what they have accomplished and the strong economy and the strong professions you have here. I think the one message that I would have is that we all have the power to help everyone else be better. And so part of what we should be doing, whether you're an accountant, whatever your profession is helping everyone else reach their optimal potential. And so I do that from the position of being an accountant. We all have the power to do that, but that's what will drive an economy, is when we have transparent, accountable, and service-oriented individuals working within a country, and to know that it's not about me, it's about everyone else and about making the entire community and the entire country better.
Well, with those words, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on this special interview. And let me, on behalf of our entire team, wish you all the very best for your future endeavors, and let everything be successful. And as you said, sky is the limit, and let that be the same for you. All the very best.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was Miss Olivia Kirtley, the President of the International Federation of Accountants. So those were her inspiring words. I'm sure there was a lot of learning from what she had to say. So the message has been given out. It's up to you to take it. And also remember, as she said, I quote her before I leave you, the sky is the limit. Have yourself a great day ahead.